Hey there, folks. I'm back again, and I have maybe not being able to react on more video yet, except that I try my best, of course. I had a tough time lately because there's a lot of things to do. For example, as you know, I have already bought the apartment, as I actually try to repair as I haven't done, and also cleaning up that so I can actually move in for first time. But I'm not done yet. There's a lot of things to do anyway. However, I haven't had a great time myself since I also have been messaged by my own aunt, one of them who living in Uppland, not in Gavleborg exactly. The one who live, I have two of them. One of them who living in Gavleborg, in Gavle, or how they pronounce Gävle, I guess. And one of them in Stockholm, who actually live in Stockholm, and she was the one who contacted me about that. She had been taken by the migration Arcanedy, or was it? I don't remember how to pronounce it. But it is a place that they actually taking in immigrants to deport from the country for those who are not allowed to stay in Sweden. But people can still make a complaint on it and talk about what's going on. So yeah, there's a lot of things, of course. It was migration urgency, now I remember. However, I am more concerned when it comes to Sweden ever since they got the new government. As you know, there's four parties in one government. Moderates, Christian Democrats, Liberation Party, I guess, and Swedish Democrats. Supposedly, most of the parties used to always ban Swedish Democrats to taking over the government. But in this case, moderates have made a deal with them for once, even if they have done that early, but they did it in the past. And why am I concerned? Well, here's the thing. Even if Jimmy Akesson or maybe a smart guy, but he's still missing a part when it comes to all immigrants. I understand that each and anyone saying that Sweden is the only one who have taken a lot of immigrants for all those years. Yes, that's true. But in the same time, there have been many people who also have been deported from the country as well. So I'm not so sure if we have a lot of immigrants exactly, even if we're taking in a lot of people, of course, especially when it comes to the Middle East, who actually have a problem with the Cold War and all of these things. When it comes to the violent sides, you know, the religion itself and people who are actually fighting all day in and day out. But they are not the only one. Even immigrants from other kind of countries, like in all the Asia, Australia, Africa, South America, even in South Europe as well. I mean, I understand if North Europe maybe have a better time, but okay, I don't say all of the South Europes does it. But it's different from some people who might have a difficult time. I mean, again, we have many Swedish people who actually have moved to different countries as well. I mean, back in the 30s or 40s, many Swedish people moved into America when many Americans was also disappearing from their own countries as well to other countries as well. Everybody started to immigrate on each other, kind of. But there's no one who actually recognized the part of people who actually move out from their countries just because we want to have another life. It was so popular for many people who moved out from Sweden to other countries because they wanted to have a job or career or any kind of things. I mean, even if I wish that the current country we maybe was in, we could maybe have creating a life. But I understand the part that even if we would stay in the country, we were still facing a lot of shit anyway. I mean, I don't say even if we do it. Sweden is maybe the best place to think of, but it's not like everybody would actually accept one and another person because of whatever most of people actually are more interested in. For example, we say today, what Jimmy Akesson doesn't understand is when it comes to the capitalism who actually live in country, who actually controlling the access of the money, of course, as the government always collecting taxes, for example. Who are the one who are representing to pay a lot of taxes? Simple. Always the retired people. Those who are over 65, for example, up to 90 or 100, they are the one who are actually paying a lot. Then we have those who actually have no jobs, who also paying a lot, of course. We don't receive a lot of taxes at all, tax return. When I was working in Sweden once upon a time, what happening? Simple. When I should never call moderates as right-wing. No, because we have never been right-wings. In the past we called the aliens, the allies, if I may say it. Alliance or whatever I could call it. But in that time they were focusing on every company instead for focusing on every people. They thought they could actually make more jobs by talking with the companies. But the problem is the companies are still the one who actually control everything. That means you have no right to say to a company you should do this and that. The company is the one who actually telling you what to do. And the most of it is that every party are actually bitch. Every capitalist bitch, if I may say it. How can I say that? Well, I can start with the first thing. Everybody like money. They want money. They have not so much money, yet people are the one who are actually paying a lot of taxes. When it comes to companies, especially when it comes to the smaller one, they are the one who are actually paying a lot. Why those who have a big company, they don't pay a lot. They pay so little and can't pay more than that. No, I can't actually calculate today, but you can make your own calculation and see how many times people paying a lot. But the biggest thing today is you thinking over from 2011 up to today. What have it been? Well, a lot of people are getting fired because each and any company want to save money. When they saying that they want to save money, they meaning that they want to become rich by making sure the remaining employees are doing the double shift every time to make sure to make a job and make sure that employers and CEOs earn a lot of cash every month. So each and anyone, the remaining of the employees, have to either work harder than what they did in the current time, in the past time. And that's it. They are the slave for the market, while the other one who actually looking for the job won't be able to get the job at all. And that's the reason to why it also rising from the right wing, who literally thinking that it's the immigrants' fault that there is no job. That because the capitalism hire less of people for working for the nation. And that's the reason to why Jimmy Akesson doesn't understand the concept between the capitalism here in Sweden. I mean, we could take for example from America. Look, I haven't been in America for a long time now. I don't know. So I don't know if the employees work double shift or have a... Well, okay, I have heard from my cousin on the other hand who used to say in the workplace she actually working it. They have fired a lot of people, a less of people actually working really hard. So that kind of thing could be also similar, but not in the all places, of course. In some places they working really hard, yes, but it is still the old generation of employees who actually, well, baby boomers and Generation X who have to work hard every time. And perhaps some millennials who also have been hired to do the job as well, to become the new generation as they need, of course. But in Sweden, okay, even if they have few immigrants, a few employees, no matter if they are immigrants or Swedish, each and anyone doing equal work. However, it's difficult for sometimes for each and anyone to ever think of what the capitalism actually thinking. We could take back in the time again. Okay, fine. I understand that most of you doesn't want to talk about that, but I do it anyway. We remember an empire about people who actually have taken over everything, as many innocent people had nothing to do with. For example, the early Rome, the early Egyptian, the early, I don't know which one, it doesn't matter. But if we say this, every royal who actually make a decision what should be established in their own mindset and anything, but who are capable to become a royal, who are capable to do the same thing as a royal do? Simple, the capitalist. They have same thing as the royal have. Perhaps not today. Today many royals are actually working in the government, while some of them doesn't do it. What is different between Sweden and America? Simple. In the Swedish government you have the monarch and the royal working in the government. If they earning off it, yes, of course they do. They earn money, of course, and they working. And they working really hard themselves. So there's no cheating when it comes to working. So I don't say anything. Americans royal, I don't think so. I don't think they have to work at all. I'm not so sure how it is in there, so I can't say anything. So I shut up. Someone could lecture me by telling what's going on in the royal family in America. Well, we will see about that. However, what I want to tell you when it comes to Jesus, on the other hand, when he, on the other hand, existed. I mean, again, that guy was a hippie who just wanted to just help people to supporting each other without to ever thinking of giving the government, asking help from the government, who have no idea how to help people at all. All they cared about was the taxes. Everybody have to pay taxes. Like every royal in the past who always asking taxes from each and any people. That was it. It beginning with all those cave people who made some kind of, how shall I say, a trade. Well, not trade marketing if you think, but they start to trade with each other. It could be 2 cows for just one big, I don't know, not an oven if I may say it, but if I say this, perhaps to say you maybe trade a cow with 2 pigs, for example. Trading was something many cavemen did in the past to make favors, for example. I give you a cow if you can fix my roof, for example. I give you a pig if you give me perhaps a bag of flour. That was it. The trading became popular over the time, and people couldn't think more that, well, I can help you or do something free. People want always something. That's it. But the time when trading didn't exist, everybody were so humble to each other that each and anyone helped each other no matter what the circumstances was. Surviving was something each and anyone did in the past, in the cave time. It doesn't matter if you were a caveman or cavewoman or maybe a cave hermaphrodite. Yeah, kind of. Everybody did the job, nothing more. But again, as we're talking about today, capitalism is the one who ruined the time. I get it. All this trading became money later. They created money so they could trade. But first it was the gold, then the silver. Oh, no, hold on. I think it was bronze, then silver, then gold, And later they turned everything to the corners, and everybody had to pay all this and all that. But in order to survive, many people took different jobs, from fishing to creating to making clothes to making other things. And those who didn't have this kind of power or mentally to ever fix it, not even understand the knowledge of it either, they took other positions like hunting. And hunting, as we know, are actually much more dangerous than what you realize. Or maybe a mining job. Mining job, either it was because of the government or outside of the government. What was in the government was legal. What was outside of the government was illegal. However, people needed money, of course. And then we have women who actually, well, I don't know if men even did it too. When it comes to prostitution, they try to survive. And that's exactly what it was. Again, the capitalism ruined everything. The time when Jesus came, he wanted to make sure that everybody could actually have a good time to help each other. He wanted to end all this suffering as every people had. People started to support each other freely. They helped each other. No money required. Everybody helped each other, and anything was a joy. Free meal, free food, even shelter. Everything. Everybody could gather together. That was exactly what Jesus wanted to learn people. Don't wait for a capitalism to pay. Instead, try to enjoy your life and try to help each other. That was the rebellion. And that was before this guy, whatever his name is, Caesar, his general, who actually came up, took Jesus and confronted him. He saw himself as a god, while Jesus, on the other hand, didn't think himself as a god. Instead, he was just thinking that we both were equal, nothing more. And even if he was born from a god, he didn't consider himself as a god. I mean, each and every of us have different verse, of course, yes. But that verse I may be telling you is more what I actually believe is the truth. Why in the world would Jesus call himself God, except that he accepted the part that he was maybe born by a God? But he didn't saw himself as a God, and he was never selfish about the mind at all. He just wanted to change the life and make it better for everybody, so each and anyone could live a normal life. There were nothing about baptize or be saved by Jesus. No. Jesus was only a guy who just wanted to help. That's all. Nothing more. But the royal maniacs didn't like it and also took it offensive, because some people might have suggested that he is a god, while others was upset that he was a god and wanted to just shut him up, of course. But it ended up that each and everyone wanted him killed or dead, while those who still support Jesus wanted to do anything to save him from them, of course, before he was hanged and killed. Well, turns out that those miserable royals were winning, except when it came to the elderly. I don't know if he was a king or something, but I think only one of them were wise enough to see that Jesus wasn't there for just taking over. He was there to helping people. And he saw that as a sign of a good heart person. So in this case, he was the only one, while three of them was still an idiot who still think that Jesus were just there for being known as a god, who wanted to take over the government and all this bullshit. I mean, BS. Sorry, I can't swear. However, it's not so goddamn easy. Even if the time we went on and on and on, the disciples who tried to do everything and all of this, they didn't know exactly what to do, but few of them wanted to continue to spread the good word of Jesus. For example, Maria, who is still alive, who knew exactly that Jesus once said that each and anyone can take the lead. I think that he have talked with each and anyone in one room. But in same time, not everybody had the courage to talk. But one of them was still Maria who talked. Normally, we used to think that she was the only woman who are a disciple. But each and anyone changed their minds, except for Peter and Andrew. Those two disciples who actually ruined the Christianity as well. One who came up with the patrioticity, and the other one very destructive verse of Christianity. But after the time had been passed, there have been many of them who have established a lot of verse. I mean, for example, we are Protestant, Catholic, and Orthodox, but they are not the only verse of the Christianity. A lot of Christianity does exist. For example, when it comes to Nazis Christianity, the one I actually admire, and it's the only one I can actually tell. Why? I don't want to tell the rest of the verse from other places. What I mean is that I'm afraid that every church will maybe one day burn the books they don't like. But that's the truth. I mean, each and anyone who wanted to give the good verse of what Jesus did, and all of those disciples who actually wanted to help to continue with his verse. We didn't want to have any violence at all. But the problem was still Peter and Andrew, who didn't like the idea of whatever each and anyone had. So they came up with this destructive verse who actually continue evolve around the world. So they are the majority today, while the Nazis Christianity are the minority. And that's the difficult thing. Which also reminds me, how in the world did Jehovah's Witness grow up to become big in this case, even if they are under the Patriot Christianity and the rest of the verse of the Christianity? But okay, we don't think about that. What I'm still concerned about is that capitalism today are actually taking a lot of cash, hire new people to work under them, but they hire less of people to work for the company, so each and anyone can earn the big cash they can all have. And with that said, each and anyone have make a rule and even destroy the democracy because of whatever they establish, what they see it is important. Everybody have to educate. Yes, that's important. Each and anyone need to educate. But what happened with those who have done that, yet they didn't get the job at all? Because of the capitalism. Because they only hire, they want to hire. And even if you are educated, they still have this battle that if they want to take what they want? Are you the one who actually, well, how could I say it? It doesn't matter if you have the paper. Paper is nothing. What is matter is that you are perfect for the company. That's exactly what they want. They want to earn that cash. They couldn't care less who you are, except that sometimes they do, depending what kind of education you have or what kind of person you are. That's the thing. None of this is actually easy to think of. And yet we have Jimmy Akesson who think that immigrants are the only one who's actually taking. Again, capitalism doesn't care. They taking how much people they want, but they don't hire a lot of people to work. That's the only different thing. We need more socialism more than what we need capitalism. But what I would actually considering is that we need more communism than capitalism. Capitalism are the only one who ruin the life of everybody, and no one can actually have a wonderful time. Why the capitalism are still the ruler of the country. There's nothing we can do. So we have both sides, the capitalism and the destructive capitalism. And yet, Jimmy Akesson wanted to throw every immigrant. Oh yes, which reminds me. Since he talking about throwing out people from the country, he instead choose to throw out the good people in the same time he throwing the bad people. But here's the thing. Many of those people who are innocent, who haven't done anything and have only following the law and paying taxes while they still waiting for being accepted in the nation. They still pay the taxes. They work for the country. Yet they been denied and deployed from the country. And again, why those criminals who are out there and fighting, they are the reason to why anything comes back. Again, I can talk about 80s and 90s. What about the 90s? Well, apparently not everybody have a great time at all. But it's different for some people to live up to whatever happening in the past. Sweden had a rule for some times where they saying, before you ever come into the country, you need to commit yourself into Christianity and make sure that you can language, go into school, then you can be admitted to be a Swedish citizen. That's exactly what I remember from the past. Take for example my cousin. Even though he was from Canada, he was following everything. But the only difference is that even if Sweden is a Protestantic country, his verse on the other hand was different. Okay, I don't say that. Well, I don't say my own religion, but I say at least his religion. And yeah, I admit, he is a Christian. However, the verse he maybe have are different from their own verse. So, otherwise, each and anyone used to fight. Not all of them does it. Protestant and Catholics used to fight each other for some times, which is also a sad thing. But that's not the biggest issue. However, he had a hard time, but he could still remain on the thing who actually have been in the past. he had laying that behind himself. So there's nothing more to talk about. But again, Sweden only accepts people who actually are converting to Christianity and accepting the law of Swedish culture, and that means you have to abandon your own culture. Well, here's the thing. Even if we have our own culture from the country we come from, or that our parents may come from. I mean, for example, I have a background from Canada. I mean, it's not like we're all doing it every day. We don't do it in public. Sometimes we can do it for ourselves, on the other hand, maybe in someone's apartment or maybe someone's house. We don't do it outside on the public at all. No. But that's the thing. People are so unknowing when it comes to the culture of others. Either you will be interested or you will see it as horrible as well. Or maybe you found it annoying whatsoever. But that's the thing. Freedom of expressing. But that was the law in the past about you have to convert to Swedish, abandon your own culture, convert to Christianity, and go after the law, like abandon your own hijab if you are a Muslim, for example. That was the idea. Because in Sweden we don't use hijab at all. Well, now when I say hijab, I don't say I am a Muslim, no. But I telling you what the law is in Sweden. And that's one thing. So no, you haven't found me in my religion at all. No. I don't say what religion I belong to. I just saying what the law is in Sweden. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if you are a Muslim or maybe a Christian with another verse, or maybe a Jew, maybe a Hindu, or maybe a Buddhist. You're still forced to convert into Christianity. That was the thing in the past. Even those who actually live outside from Christianity, who actually had their culture, who were actually the most oldest size. Take for example the Vikings. They have still their north culture. How could I say this? Not everybody were alike, because the government wanted to convert everybody back then too. But they managed to protest as well by saying, no, we like our culture, so please let it be. They were the first one who fought. The second one was the native of the Sweden, who calls Samen. The Samen have always fighting about their rights too, because they have living here in generation, just like the Vikings have done in the past. So they are the second native who actually also have a problem to deal with the government. But the difference between those two, as you know, the Vikings have living longer here before the Christianity have ever exist here in North. But the Samen were the one who actually come after Christianity itself. Or maybe Samen have also been existing before the Christianity were known here in Sweden, but it became bigger. Yet they couldn't force the Vikings. As you know, Vikings can defend themselves, but the Samen couldn't defend themselves. That was the reason. Why those royal people and the Christian community forced everybody, either you commit or die, or maybe work on ourselves and maybe we could find a solution. So yeah, that kind of bullshit existed in the past. I mean, I get it. Not everybody have a great time. When it comes to the government who might say, well, you are not Swedish enough, now you go. I think in year 2000 they started to change the behavior of it. For example, my cousin who actually are a Swedish guy who lived here and had his own time. He didn't have an easy time. He was even born here. I mean, even if his parents are actually immigrants who also have, well, let us say here, my cousin wasn't accepted neither from the other sides or, well, from both sides. Immigrants that didn't see him as an immigrant, and the Swedish people didn't see him as a Swedish person. So sometimes you wonder, what the hell can I be counted? So there is the confusion. But the tolerance between Swedish and the immigrants start to at least be better in few places, of course. When it comes to the small places, like small village or maybe a farm place, barns, everywhere. That was great, but when it comes to the big cities and like that was nothing to count with. But I understand there is different groups for sometimes, even if I understand that the government started to change because they needed to at least be more polite to the people more than being demanding. So in order to make sure to make a law and order, everybody have to follow each and any one, but also try to accept each other. That was the thing. However, there have been sometimes circumstances depending on which party you actually listen from. For example, when you say how to greet, how to talk, how to do this and that. And as we know from the Islam, who may be forbidding women to shake hands with anyone at all. But when it comes to men, either you can shake hands or you don't do it. And that's the biggest reason to why you maybe don't talk about that every day, because there will always be other things who will also be in front of every shit you can go with. And it is hard sometimes to believe that you can even talk about that. Because, again, it have with the person itself who have been manipulated even from beginning. I don't say Islam is bad. I mean, we all have a religion who's saying otherwise. Everybody have a different verse. So that means either the government have to listen to what the community have in their minds, or the community itself have to submit to the government. And that's the reason why all those people are fighting, because either you have to submit to God or submit to the government. That was the thing. So each and anyone started to fight in this case. Those who wanted to just leave the idea from the ideology, they submitted to the government but still kept their own religion. While the other party, well, let us say they were both good and bad from both sides, from both the government sides and the religion, the community itself. But okay, enough about that. What I'm still pissed on is about Jimmy Åkesson, how he focused on his own thing. He throwing out everybody, but can't count in which one he threw out. What I would actually ask is, why don't they throwing out those who commit crime? Why those who doesn't commit crime could be treated as a human and stay here? Like my own aunt, who actually have worked here for all those years. She paid taxes, but haven't been accepted in the government, in the country at all. And I'm still afraid that she will be deployed. Even if I am willing to tell you exactly where I am coming from, I can't. But I can tell you this. When it comes to her ex, who just waiting to get her, that's the biggest problem I'm more afraid of if he ever finds her. Yeah, I hate him. I have heard so many things in the past what he did. He wasn't a nice guy at all. He was actually the worst guy I can actually imagine. A guy who have no respect for my own aunt. And I'm so pissed off him. And sometimes I wonder if any of my relatives can protect her if she would be deployed from Sweden. However, I only wish to go back to Canada if that's so. But since I am in Iceland, I don't have to care. But that's not the thing. I mean that I'm going to make a talk when it comes to the government, not only in the government, but I would love to talk with UN as much as I want to talk with FN. To talk about people who are actually being deployed from the country, yet they are the one who actually sacrifice for the government by paying taxes. Huh? I don't get it. And that's exactly what I'm telling, that Jimmy Åkesson is just a dumbass who have no idea which one he throwing out from the country. For those who actually have working for the country and paying taxes are the one who throwing out, while those who commit the crime are the one who's staying in the country. That's the opposite he does when it comes to the crazy size. And when it comes to Swedish Democrat, they are not great enough either self. They are the one who caused the problem over again. Adding all the people, neo-Nazis, other kind of people, I don't know. It could be many people. I understand. Sometimes there's nothing who can actually be told. We all have a life. We have no idea that each and anyone coming, they have no idea. How can I say this? Conspiracies exist. People deal with bullshit every day. Either you have a neo-Nazist who doesn't like anyone at all, or maybe liking few people but hating a lot of other people. Okay, I'm from Iceland, of course. I came and visit Sweden. Let us say, as I said earlier, Blekinge is a nice place to be. And I'm very happy to come to the farm and any kind of place I could be. Either you get someone who actually maybe greeting while the other one maybe doesn't. And that doesn't matter. But when you come to the city, you may be sitting in, I don't know, in a chair maybe in the bar. Somebody barging in and saying maybe, well, you're not here from, I can see it. You're an immigrant. You commit crime and all of this thing. Again, here's the thing as I have learned. Stop talking about community or race or whatever you will come out. The only one who commit the crimes is those people who choose to do otherwise. And yeah, but this person was actually telling me that I have committed a sexual crime because I belong to the community. But my community have nothing with the sexual crime to do. Even if. But that doesn't mean that it's because of my community. No, it's because of the gender itself with no self-responsibility. It doesn't matter if you are black, white, brown, or other kind of colors who maybe doesn't fit in. Then yes, again, it's about the gender, not about the color. True, some cultures and religion maybe destroy it, yes. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it need to be that. Again, this is about the genders who need to make sure to have self-responsibility. That's the only thing. As I still also pointing in when it comes to all this bullshit I may hear today. And I'm so tired of it. Yes, I am. I am tired. I have lived with that kind of accusations for a long time. I can remember since I was 11 years. And again, none of you know exactly what color I belong to or what kind of community I belong to or religion. I'm maybe not into talk about that myself. Perhaps one day I will tell you what religion I belong to or what culture I belong to. But you used to hear me talk against my own. Yes, I used to do it. Again, but that doesn't mean that you will find it. I am proud to keep my own secret. Yes, I am. But there's a lot of things I'm going to talk when I am ready. I'm not ready now. I'm only pissed over that my aunt is still in the custody of migration agency, who either want to deploy her from the country or she will maybe keep staying here and paying taxes. But it's still unjust when it comes to keeping her in same place and have nothing to do at all. I mean, I have seen it myself. I was there. I was visiting her. I'm so sad to see that kind of part, the end of the line, if I may say it. And that worries me a lot. If she would actually be deployed from her own country, I mean from that country, I don't know. But as I said, I don't like whatever Jimmy Akesson have done or any of the parties have done. They focus on wrong people. They should focus on right people. And one more thing, stop bitching for the capitalism and try to take on the capitalism. Yes, that's what I have in my mind. But that doesn't stop Jimmy Akesson to think different in this case. He thinks he does this right thing. But all he does is wrong thing. I understand if he had maybe been bullied by some people with who were immigrants, as he once mentioned, since he was a kid. I mean, I myself, I have been bullied by some immigrants as well. But that doesn't mean that every immigrants are evil. No. In this case, you should only focus on those people who have committed the bullying. They are the ones who deserve the punishment. Not all of them just because they are immigrants as well. And again, when it comes to immigrants with different cultures, women who submit to men, that's also something to thinking of. Women should actually be allowed to stay here. Why men in this case? I don't know. Not all men, but some of them. Especially those who maybe have the superiority. They are the only one who actually should be taken with the lesson to think of again. However, even if I understand that those neo-Nazis or those people who have no tolerance when it comes to outside people, because either it is uncomfortable to see someone who are different from the other one, especially when it comes to city folks. They have no idea how every people actually live or actually feels. I know when it comes to CITIZENT, when it comes to city folks, they are too focused to themselves. They can't think about other people, and that's the only different thing. I know exactly how difficult it is to actually live in this kind of case. As I understand, it is hard. I myself still thinking, what could I do to help her? I don't know. I mean, getting a lawyer costs a lot of cash. I mean, it's, for God's sake, $2,500 if you count in dollars. I mean, I don't know. I think, how could I say it? When it came to my grandma, of course I was very, how should I say, I was quick to help her, of course, more than I was quick to help my own auntie. But that's it. When you're a low-income person, you're not able to make a loan at all to help your own auntie. I don't know. There's nothing I can do. Yeah, that's the thing, as you know. The reason to why I haven't done much of reaction, but I try to fight so much I can to provide a lot of videos and entertainment and whatsoever you can find. Otherwise I used to make shorts now, because it seems to be funny, of course, and that's something I want to share with you. And I'm very happy that those who has subscribed to my channel, thank you, of course. I hopefully hope that there will be more people who maybe will subscribe, and I hope I can actually keep entertain you, and I hope I will actually give you that laughter or some kind of news I can. I know I'm not just a rookie, but I continue do my best, even if I am not as smart as a normal YouTuber. I have a lot of things in my head, of course. I can't always focus on what should be focused, even if I have to be a real YouTuber. But in the same time, I also working to try to provide myself, being independent and make sure that no one payouts except me. I on the other hand are a janitor, and I will continue fighting until I maybe get a new job or maybe an extra job, so I could actually make sure that I can do anything. Even if I didn't get any help earlier when I was in a trouble myself, I took care of it for over 6 years. Even if I applied for help, no one came to rescue. I was still in the same shit and kept for myself and fought for myself. Now I still continue. But the reason to why I maybe did a campaign when it comes to my auntie and my grandma, because they are my life. They are important. I'm not important. I don't see myself important. If I ever see myself important, then I have to fight for myself. But they on the other hand are important. That's why I did it for them. That's the reason. So when it comes to myself, I fight for myself. When it comes to them, I maybe ask help from others who maybe will fight for them as well. So each and any of them can survive, while I, on the other hand, can find other ways to try to work and make sure that I can actually do anything in my power to make sure that I continue what I'm doing and make sure that I actually can reach to something, even if I am just a dumbass loser who have nothing to think of. Yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, I'm very happy that each and any of you took time to hear my story and why I actually keeping thinking of my auntie who are in the custody now, and that her boyfriend on the other hand couldn't do anything, why the ex-boyfriend who just waiting to see her again, which I don't want. That's the only reason to why I also keep fighting as well, to make sure that she can actually live her life far away from that dumbass who actually just waiting for her. Anyway, thank you everybody, and have a nice day, good night, and sleep tight, and yeah, all of it. Bye.